Hi, I am in Iceland. Just walked along the Thvera River, I believe it is. It's a salmon fishing river in rural Iceland, and it is a beautiful day here. Gonna talk to you real quick about another tip for you regarding stock options, and specifically regarding incentive stock options. And that is to remember that once you exercise your incentive stock options, don't assume that you're going to be holding them for the next year. So you know that in order to get the tax break, the tax benefit, you do need to hold them for at least a year after you exercise. So that's generally what the default plan is. But the purpose of doing that is to get a lower tax rate, right? A difference between a long-term capital gain rate and whatever your ordinary income tax rate is. So you have to pay attention to what that spread is, number one. You might be paying 15% long-term capital gain, might be 18.8, might be 23.8, and then you've got to look at your ordinary income tax rate, might be 22, 24, 32, etc. Look at the spread between the two to see how much the tax rate break is, and then compare that to how much the gain is. This is a dollar amount that you're potentially trying to save over the course of the year. So the first thing you want to keep in mind is you've got to hold all of the investment risk of the individual stock in order to get a tax break. And so you want to compare and ask yourself, how much would the stock have to fluctuate in order for me to lose more money by holding the stock and getting a tax break rather than selling it and paying higher taxes? And you have to continually pay attention and know that what you're doing is holding investment risk in order to get a potential tax benefit. But the second thing to keep in mind, particularly in the case of a stock that's dropping in value, is that once you exercise those options, you've created alternative minimum taxable income. You've got an adjustment there that's going to create potentially a need for you to pay AMT in the year that you exercise. And once you cross over the end of the calendar year, not necessarily a full year from where you exercise, say you exercise in October, we're talking once December 31st hits, 2 months later, now you've locked in that AMT income. That's going to show up on your tax return even if you disqualify the stock later. So in the case of a stock that is falling in value, you've created all this AMT income, but the value is going down so that when you sell it, you may not see the adjustment that you want to have a year later, and therefore you may not recapture your AMT credit, may not recapture the AMT tax that you paid the first year. So once you exercise the stock, you got to pay attention to how much investment risk do I want to continue to hold, and you want to pay attention to, do I want to lock in all this AMT income at the end of the calendar year, or does it make more sense to disqualify the stock? Sometimes you might look at that and the answer might be obvious. Often it's kind of complicated with taxes. You might want to find some help, some way to project that so you know which numbers you're dealing with. But in any case, just be aware that once you exercise, it's not a given that you're going to hold for another year. Thanks.